Hey guys, it's Shadow the Rat, and in today's video, I'm going to show you some clips of my rat Biscuit learning to fetch a cheese chew. Now, the reason I'm narrating over this is simply because I wanted to talk a little bit about this method and why I really don't like it. Now, first of all, what is the method? Well, the method is just sitting yourself in front of your rat's stash spot, taking an item they like to stash, throwing it in front of you, and when your rat runs past you to go put the item in the stash spot, you offer them a treat, and when they drop the item, you give them the treat and take the item with your hand. Now, this is all well and good, but the problem is that it's not as easy for the rat to pick up as you might think. First of all, there's the fact that you're trying to teach the entire behavior at once. Fetch is a complex behavior, and trying to just capture the entire behavior at once doesn't usually go well. The other issue with it is just the fact that the rat isn't really thinking when they stash the item in the first place. And what do I mean by this? Well, what I mean is that rats stash items on instinct. They go up to an item and they'll stash it, but they're not really thinking about it. They're not purposefully stashing it. They're more doing it as a passive behavior. Think you or me twirling our hair when we're thinking about something hard. It's not something you do on purpose, and you wouldn't even know you're doing it unless someone points it out to you. Well, stashing is very similar for rats, and so at first, when they're just stashing the item, when you're trying to reward them for it, they're not thinking about stashing, so they can't really connect what they're doing to getting the treat. So this means that it's going to be harder for them to really internalize the trick itself, internalize the fact that bringing you the object gets them the treat, and even if they are aware of themselves stashing the item, which it is possible, then they have to fight the fact that they want to stash it when they're bringing it to you, so that's another issue. And the final issue I have with this is just that it's really hard to reward for. And the reason I say this really goes back to the fact that I think it's a very passive behavior. And what I mean is that when the rats bring you the item and you reward them, the item you give them as a reward can't be too high in value. And usually if you give your rats a higher motivator, then that's good because they're going to learn faster because they're more motivated. But in this case, if you give them a more higher valued treat, then they're just going to stop doing the first behavior, which was stashing the item, because it was a passive behavior again. They weren't really thinking about it, so they have no reason to associate it with getting the treat. And now that they're getting something so high value, they're going to be trying to actively earn that treat. And it just becomes really difficult to get them to go back to doing a more passive behavior because now they're so excited that they don't have any reason to go back to that. So yeah, it's definitely not my favorite method. The reason I'm doing so here is for two reasons. First of all, because this is a cheese chew, and when I teach fetch of the cheese chew or other food-like items, I like to do it this way because otherwise the rats tend to run off with it, and it's a lot easier to just corral their behavior into one area. I kind of feel like it mitigates the other issue with them not really understanding why they're being rewarded at first. And the other reason is just because I like to teach things in different ways. So this is a different way of teaching fetch, and I've done it before. I've had some success with it, so let's see how it goes. Anyways, to end this video, I do want to say that we saw some progress in this session. Biscuit in the first session went from just taking the item and the food and trying to run away and stash it to actually leaving the item behind. And in this session here, she went from just dropping the item and walking to the food to actually trying to move the item closer to the food before grabbing it. So yeah, I think we're going to make a lot of progress using this method, even though again, as I stated, I don't really like it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!
Biscuit, drop the chew! Drop the chew, Biscuit!